For those that just came in a little late, I'm Brian Pepe. I'm the new principal at Riverdale High School. We do have our administrative team here this evening, along with some guidance counselors. And most importantly, we have some current Riverdale High School students to help us with this question and answer session. So quick introduction, we always have Mr. Fletcher, our superintendent of schools, myself, the principal. Mr. Flanagan, Brandon Flanagan, is our assistant principal, along with Jeff Principe, who is our assistant principal and also supervisor of guidance. So you might have received some emails regarding scheduling and the process that we're going to be taking, selecting electives. I believe we all did that, and that information will all come from Mr. Principe. Mr. Cooney is a district administrator for Director of Special Services, along with our math supervisor, Jan Ali, and Dr. Lisa Torres is on this call, I believe, as well. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Torres. And Tiffany Correa is our supervisor of professional development and special projects. She's joining us this evening. Mr. Dennis Nelson is our athletic director. He is on the call this evening. And Mary Anthony Williams is our director of technology. So our guidance team, Mr. Principe, do you want to just do a quick introduction of our guidance team?
Mr. Principe, you're muted.
Okay, take two. Thank you, everyone.
You're 0 for 2, Mr. Principe. The recording and you're muted. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your night to join us. It's very appreciative. We have 5 guidance counselors. And right now what you see is the assignment, the breakdown of the last name. Now that could change come the beginning of school year, depending upon how many students we have coming in and how many students we have going out. We have Ms. Barlow, Mr. Diabaldo, Ms. Garcia, who I believe is with us tonight.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Ms. Kirkby is also with us tonight.
Hello.
And Ms. Alvarez, who's in for Ms. Nolan, who is on leave, and Ms. Nolan will be back. But Ms. Alvarez is here, and you will be meeting with Ms. Alvarez until Ms. Nolan gets back. And I believe she is with us tonight as well, correct?
Yes, hi.
Okay, I think that's all the ones that are with us. And before I pass the torch on to the next person, actually the baton to the next person, I just wanted to remind all of you of the 8th graders that the counselors will be reaching out to you, and they probably have already started setting up meetings with you, starting April 12th, and we'll go April 12th till about the 20th. So I know Mr. Jasinski had mentioned to me that some of you forgot to choose your electives. It's not a big deal. When you meet with the counselors, you will be able to do that. And if you had a change of heart, you will also be able to talk to them as well. So don't panic if you haven't done that. So again, thank you for coming and have a good night and hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Mr. Principe. I think Mr. Dibaldo is on this call as well. Thank you for joining us, Brian. So I hope at this point everyone had a chance to read my previous letters on the whole transition for next year. This is something new for the high school. I have to thank my team that is on this call and a bunch of teachers that assisted in creating videos for every student to view to get a better idea of what the high school has to offer. In the past, guidance counselors, administrators, and some teachers used to go down to the middle school and speak to the students in more of a formal setting. And we felt that this year was an opportunity that rose that we should offer a video-based orientation for the students. And you can check that out on the website if you haven't checked it already. There's an incoming students tab on the website that you can view at your leisure. There's videos for every department in the high school offering and showing you what we do best here and what we offer our students. So please be sure to check that out. If you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to your guidance counselor or reach out to the administration. And last but not least, we do have 7 students on this Teams call. And when we had the vision for this Q&A session, we wanted to take the questions, but we wanted you to hear from current high school students most of the answers. The tough questions, we can jump in and assist them, but we think it's important for the parents and the current 8th graders to hear from our current students and hear their experiences. So we have 7 of them on this call, and they're going to take a minute to just do a quick introduction of themselves. They're going to share their grade level. They're going to share what town they live in, maybe some of their interests, and one thing I believe they enjoy about Riverdale High School. So Naomi, do you want to kick off for us?
Sounds good. So as you can see, my name is Naomi. I'm from Oradell and I'm a freshman here at Riverdale. I'm currently involved in the newspaper club, band. I'm a class officer for our grade and I do a lot of dancing outside of school. I think my favorite thing about Riverdale so far has been the teachers and their willingness to apply lessons into real life situations. I find that to be like a really engaging and motivating thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Naomi. Excellent job. Joseph.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joey Amapani. I'm from River Edge. I'm a sophomore here at Riverdale. I'm involved with the music department and drama department. I'll be playing a lead in our upcoming spring musical, Mamma Mia. My favorite thing about Riverdale has to be the people that you meet and how they just support you with everything that you do. It's a really uplifting community, and that's what I really like about it.
Thank you, Joseph. Good luck in the musical. If anyone's wondering, that spring musical is May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. We will be streaming that on Riverdale Television, RDTV, so be sure to check it out. And Hannah, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah, and I'm a sophomore. I'm from Oradell, and I play 3 sports: soccer, swimming, and lacrosse. I'm a member of the Big Buddies Club and the Stigma Free Club, and my favorite thing about Riverdale is definitely the welcoming staff and environment and the school spirit.
Awesome, Hannah. Thank you. All right, our first junior to speak, Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a junior and I'm from Oradell. I play football, basketball, and I also play on the golf team. And I would definitely say my favorite thing about Riverdale is all like the great friends that I've got to like know, and like from all the different sports and just hanging out in class with everyone. So just really just all the friends you meet along the way. So that's always good stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Gillies. Valeria, you're up.
Hi, I'm Valeria. I'm a junior at Riverdale. I joined Riverdale 2 years ago when I moved to America. So if any of you have questions about like my experience, I'll be glad to answer. And my favorite thing about Riverdale would probably be like the teachers and the staff and like how they helped me with like my entire process of like changing countries.
That is awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. Katie, you're up, our first senior.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie. I'm a senior this year at Riverdale, and I live in River Edge. I'm involved in Riverdale in a few ways, such as being the secretary of the class of 2021, president of Global Connections Club and English National Honor Society, and I'm also a 4-sport athlete with volleyball, soccer, and both seasons of track and field. My favorite part of being a student at Riverdale has definitely been the community. I find that the teachers really go the extra mile for you, and that I've made lifelong friendships here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. Katie, where are you going to school next year?
I'm still undecided.
All right. Good luck. Good luck. Sally.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sally, and I'm a senior here at Riverdale. I'm from River Edge, and here at the high school, I'm part of the girls' tennis team, which is a fall sport. I'm also involved in the musical department. I'm in the concert band, and I'm president of the Featured Teachers Club and the National Honor Society, and I participate in math team. One of my favorite things about Riverdale is the variety of clubs that we offer. So I found that I was able to explore a lot of my interests through the variety of clubs and meet a lot of new people from different grades.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone, for your nice introductions. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully I can know how to do that. Okay. We're good. Ms. Kirkby, give me a thumbs up. All right, good. All right, so at this point, we are going to open up the floor to our 8th graders, and we're going to just have a question and answer session. So as you can see, we have all our guidance, most of our guidance teams on here. We have administration. The students that you just heard from were, a full gamut of experiences that they have. We have children that are involved in athletics. We have children involved in the musical. We have a young lady who is transitioning from our ESL program. So we have hopefully all the answers for you. So we do have about 95 people on this call, which is awesome. So go ahead. You can either type in the chat. We recommend that you raise your hand and we can have you, or just unmute yourself.
Come on, don't be shy. It takes one. Once the one person does it, then the floodgates open. Come on.
There we go. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Is band an elective or can anyone participate in it?
Go ahead. Any one of our students that's involved in music, you can answer that question.
You can either take PM band, which is a class, it goes in like the Genesis grade book and it's after school, or you can take it as an elective and it'll be put into your schedule and you'll take it one of your 8 periods throughout the day.
Thank you, Joey. That's a great answer. Mr. Flanagan, if you don't mind, since the questions are coming in kind of slow, why don't you just explain the lunch at the high school? Because I know that's always a hot topic.
Yeah, usually it is. Unfortunately, we haven't had lunch here in a year, but it is, for those of you who have experienced lunch here in the past, it is going to look different. So we are right now, there are a few different things in the works, but we don't anticipate, the hallways being crowded with students on the floor and, kind of spread out all over the school. We're exploring multiple lunch periods. To alleviate that, obviously, the guidelines keep changing. We anticipate some social distancing, but we are moving forward with a plan to change the way lunch is here at Riverdale going forward.
All right. I think that's going to be a good experience for all the students, and it's going to work out well. Ms. Dela Cruz, you have a question?
Hi, good evening. What is the typical high school hours? Like, does it vary? Depends on freshman, sophomore, or is everybody the same hours?
Ms. Golden, why don't you answer that one?
Thank you. So in a typical year, this year school starts at 8:15 and ends at 2:20 for everyone, and it's the same freshmen through seniors. And I know in the past, in a non-pandemic schedule, the school started at 7:50 and ended at 2:31.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the same for all 4 grade levels. And then obviously at 2:30, there's opportunities for the students to receive extra help till about 3:05 or 3 o'clock. And then extracurricular activities begin right after that. And sometimes there's activities late into the evening, depending on what activities students are involved in. Ms. De Leon or Mr.?
Hi, good evening. Just referencing your question earlier, or your answer earlier regarding cafeteria and social distancing, what is your expectation for what the schedule is going to look like for these kids in September?
All right, I can jump in on that one, and maybe Mr. Principe can follow me. So we are currently exploring a very similar rotation drop schedule that we've always had here at Riverdale, but we're going to try our best to have 2 lunch periods, kind of on a rotation basis. So we will be able to fit just about everybody comfortably in the cafeteria and in the commons area. And lunch will be about 35 minutes long, and then they would rotate and go to a different class. This is just still all in the works, but we're just going to tighten that up a little bit, and then we'll be able to share that with Mr. Fletcher and the Board of Ed and have that plan going forward. But we are planning for a full day of instruction next year with lunch. So it should be a good experience for the students.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Kanari?
Thank you.
Hi, I had a question regarding are the school divided between like each section for each grade levels? Are all the students mingle with each other in the entire school?
Miss Hannah Essler, why don't you answer that one?
Catch it.
All right, I'll help out with that one. Something that's okay. So they're commingled. One thing that we do is the students are assigned lockers. Mr. Flanagan, you can jump in if I'm wrong here. They are assigned lockers in different wings of the building, so they spend the majority of their hallway time with their grade levels, but they can be commingled in electives and some of their classes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Kelly?
Good questions.
Hi, yes. Are the students going to have a chance to be able to walk around in the school and kind of look out the layout before September?
Yes, absolutely. So I've shared that in some of my communications home that in the summer, I'll have it right here, building tours are going to take place all summer. So Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Principe, and myself will be sending out days, probably 2 days a week throughout the whole summer for students to just email us and say that they're going to come in and join us for a tour. And so they have a chance to walk the building with us. And then as the schedules are created and shared with the students and finalized, we will be doing a more official freshman orientation probably the day before school starts. And they will be able to walk around with their schedules and triple and double check where their classes are.
Dan? He put his hand down.
I was just wondering, you mentioned this orientation. Did I miss it, or is there a date yet, approximate date for this orientation when they get their schedules and lockers?
Yep. So schedules will be shared through Genesis at some point in the summer, right, Mr. Principe?
Well, actually, our goal the last couple of years, what we've been doing is students have been leaving for summer with the schedule in hand. That's our goal. So you should, hopefully they will have it sometime in June.
And as far as the official freshman orientation, on the communication I shared late summer, I'm leaning towards probably the day before school starts. So, and please, if you have vacation plans, don't rearrange your vacation plans. We'll be able to record it and share it with the students. So if they miss it, they have nothing to worry about. Any other, there's got to be some more questions. Ms. Kirkby, why don't you just explain the process?
Ms. Dela Cruz actually has a question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I do. I have another question. I just realized that my son's appointment with his high school counselor is during school hours. Are they expected? Are they going to be excused from classes for this, or how does that work?
Yeah, someone from the guidance office can assist.
Sure. So we did send out the schedule. Those meetings are typically between 5 and 10 minutes long, and we're currently working with the middle school to determine the best way to approach students who will have those meetings while they are in person. So we're planning to make accommodations like we did at the high school, where they could maybe relocate to a different part of the school temporarily, but they will be excused from their class for that 5 to 10 minutes that they'll be meeting with their counselor.
Okay. And
if there's a major conflict, they could just email, you could just email the counselor and we would be happy to reschedule if there's like a quiz during that time or a presentation or some reason that it just wouldn't work out.
Okay. And this is just between the student and the counselor, right? Does the parent need to be part of it? Okay.
Nope. But if you have any
perfect.
questions, same thing, don't hesitate to follow up with the assigned counselor.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katarina?
Are there letter rotation days in the high school?
Why don't we have Sally jump on that one?
Yes, we do. We have ABCD days, and I think it's similar to what the middle school does now. It was different when I was there, but it's the same drop and rotate schedule with periods 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and then you just rotate every day.
So that sounds really confusing to someone that doesn't run that schedule. I'm still learning it myself. I'm here. Oh, actually, we haven't even been running it this year, but Mr. Principe is still trying to talk to me about it on a daily basis. So that is something that all the freshmen always have a little difficulty understanding, but trust me, your teachers are going to be there to help you and guide you. They'll give you a little cheat sheet to fill out, so it's not that confusing. And our guidance counselors are also here to assist. So please don't be nervous. You're going to end up loving the schedule that's in place here, right? All my students are shaking their heads. Yes, it's a pretty good schedule. Any other questions out there? There's got to be some. Ms. Correa, you want to handle that?
Yeah, Ms. De Leon.
Hi again. What's the average size of each class or relative size?
Mr. Principe?
Well, I can't, I can't really say it's 24. I can't really say it's 26. It really depends. What we try to do is we try to keep it as small as we can when we schedule, but it doesn't always work out that way. The business classes tend to have larger numbers in the class because there's 3 business teachers and we have a bunch of business classes. So, we try not to get to 28 and 30, but sometimes you really don't have a choice. And the phys ed classes sometimes can run large. It just really all depends.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, the max number would be anywhere between 28 and 30.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, and believe me, and we have counselors here, and they can correct me if I'm wrong. If we don't have to put 28 in the classroom, we won't.
Got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr.
Heather?
Nelson, go ahead. Is there another question there, Tiff?
Yeah, Heather has a question.
Hi, thank you. I was just wondering if some of the students could talk to us about the freshman electives that are available. So they could give us maybe their feedback or their thoughts on what might be best for our children to choose.
Sure. Whoever wants to chat about it. Well, let's just start with Naomi. Naomi, talk about some of the electives that you're taking. And then Ryan Gillies, you can talk about maybe if you remember what electives you took as a freshman.
Yeah, sure. So currently I'm taking Intro to Photography and Digital Design. And I'd really recommend it if you're interested in both fields and you can't really decide which one yet. I think it really allows you to explore both equally, which is really nice. Next year, I'm taking Advanced Digital Design, and I'm also interested in taking Personal Finance, which I think you can only take as a 10th grader and above.
Ryan?
As a freshman, you were required to take one art class, so I took Intro to Ceramics and World Crafts. That happened to be one of my favorite classes that year. So I mean, it really doesn't matter which class you want to choose. They're all any class is great. Then if you can take some of the introductory business courses, that's also great too, because I mean, my guidance counselor, and he's known, I've taken almost every business class you can, and I'm taking more next year. So whatever you choose, it'll end up being a good class and you'll learn a lot.
Hannah, you want to just mention what you took as a freshman?
I also took Intro to Ceramics. It's a good art course because it's really interactive and there's other grades in there too. So you meet a lot of new people. And also, if your kid is interested in being in the TV program, definitely take Intro to TV because I know a lot of my friends take that and they really enjoy it. So.
Very good. Thank you. So we're going to stop with the questions for 1 second. I just want Mr. Nelson to jump in for a minute. Mr. Dennis Nelson's our athletic director. I want him to just chat briefly about the process of getting the physicals completed, Mr. Nelson.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Pepe. Welcome, everybody. There are 3 sports seasons during the course of the year: fall, winter, and spring. Of course, fall is the first, and we'll put out communication for how your child can become physically cleared for interscholastic athletic participation. It requires an annual physical. That was waived at the beginning of this year because of what was going on with the pandemic, but they have already reinstated that. So there is an annual physical that has to take place, as well as state required athletic association forms that can be found on Community Pass on our submitted electronically. The physical form is a state required form. Doctor's offices should have it. It's on our website. We can provide it also. It is the one and only form that you can provide for that interscholastic athletic clearance. And for that, we do need a hard copy because there are doctor's signatures and a stamp that are required on that. So usually the sooner you can get that to us during the summertime, the better for getting your student athletes cleared. It's good for the whole year. Once we have it, the physical is for 365 days. They will have to, from season to season, provide a health history update. That's another form that the state requires for each and every season. It also serves as parent permission for the student athlete to participate in that sport. All of this information can be found on the website, and of course you can always contact me or my assistant, Mrs. Lisa Corcoran, email, phone call. We'll be happy to help with any questions, concerns that you might have, either with the clearance process or our sport offerings, the calendar for the various sports through the course of the year, which we're hopeful will be much more traditional and normal next year. It's been a little bit different this year for obvious reasons, but we're hopeful that the State Athletic Association, the governor's office, are going to get us back to the type of calendar that we've had in the past for athletics.
Awesome. Thank you. Do you just want to get one more minute on eligibility? Coming in as a freshman, they're good, but then after that?
Correct. As a freshman entering the high school, everyone initially is academically eligible. And we follow the New Jersey State Athletic Association guidelines for eligibility, which are based on successful credit completion. At the end of each year, you need to successfully complete 30 credits in order to be eligible for the next year. But there is a checkup at the half point in the year. So after the first two marking periods, which would be the first semester, you need to show that you're successfully completing half of those 30 credits or 15 credits in order to be eligible for the spring seasons. So when you do come in, the term that we use most often is student athlete, and student is the first part of that. And I think all the student athletes on here would tell you how important academics are, not only for your academic eligibility, but for beyond high school and plans that you might have there as well. The coaches will emphasize academics. That's something that's of high priority within the athletic department. And another aspect of that I would encourage right now with all of you and your parents is to participate in as many sports as you can, participate in as many clubs as you can. Extracurricular activities are a great way to kind of enjoy the climate of the high school and get yourself involved. There's a lot of culture there through sports and extracurricular activities that I would urge you to become a part of. We always talk about 3-sport athletes. We have an award for it, the Triple Crown Award. And Katie even mentioned she's a 4-sport athlete this year because of the way that the calendar has worked out. So we really do want to see as many student athletes as possible involved in as many sport offerings as possible.
Right. Mr. Nelson, there was a question in the chat box. They wanted to know if a student wanted to get in touch with a coach, how could they do that? And somebody wanted to know when soccer tryouts were.
Okay, two good questions. Probably the best way to get in touch with a coach, if you can't find their information on the school website, it may be because they're not a teacher in our school. While a lot of our coaches are faculty members, some are not. They are outside of the school. You could always email me. That happens quite a bit, and I'll put you in touch with the coach via email for starters. For fall sports, during the course of the summer, including even this past summer where things were quite different, we were able to provide strength and conditioning workouts. So that goes on during the course of the summer. Soccer is a fall sport. Football starts August 9th as per the NJSIA calendar. All other fall sports, including soccer, start Monday, August 16th. And we have a week during the summer for athletics that we call a no contact week. There are no workouts, strength and conditioning, or anything else. It's a requirement of the Big North Conference, of which we are a proud member. And that goes from July 31st to August 8th this year, where there are no athletics at all. It's a week off from athletics.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
We also have another person in the chat that's asking, how do students find out about the clubs that are offered?
I'll just go ahead and answer that. So we have a list of clubs on the website that's updated every year. So those clubs are listed under extracurricular activities. You can also stop by the main office when the year kicks off and ask some questions about it. We'll direct you to the club advisor. And if you're ever interested in starting a club that we don't have, always just reach out to Mr. Principe, Mr. Flanagan, or myself. And we're always open to conversations about clubs and activities. So all that information can be found on our website.
I could also just add to that, just because Mr. Pepe wasn't with us at the very beginning of the year, we typically offer a club fair where students can learn more about all of the clubs, because every club will have a table set up in an area like the gymnasium. This year that wasn't available, so we did offer a virtual club fair where students were able to sign on and learn through Teams and videos more about each of the club offerings, and then contact directly the club advisor.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, sorry I'm late. This is Mateo. I was just, I had to do something.
You're all right, Mateo. Well, I'm going to visit you tomorrow. I'm going to give you detention. It's okay. I'm just kidding, buddy.
We do have a hand raise. Tyra?
When does tennis start?
Girls tennis is a fall sport, and that will start on Monday, August 16th. But there may also be opportunities for workouts in the summer for all sports. The summer is kind of an open period in the eyes of the State Athletic Association. So whether your sport is fall, winter, or spring, the summer, especially from June 21st this year until July 31st, is an open season where coaches can conduct workouts for any and all sports. But the official start of fall practices for girls tennis would be August 16th. For boys tennis, it's a spring sport, and that would be closer to the beginning of March.
Mr. Nelson, will they receive emails about when these activities start?
Yeah, closer to the end of this year, sometime in early June. We used to hold a meeting where we would have any incoming freshmen that are interested in participating in athletics all meet in the middle school gym with all the coaching staffs. We would exchange contact information, schedules, expectations. We did that online last year, or really in a electronic format. I think that's likely to continue this year, but we'll be providing all that information to all the incoming freshmen again, so you can let us know what sports you're interested in, and we can put you into contact with the coaches so that you know what to expect during the summer and then into the fall, winter, and spring for your sports.
Thank you for that. Any other questions?
Yeah, we do have some in the chat. For instance, for Mr. Nelson, one of the chats says, when do students reach out to coaches if athletes begin on August 16th?
Well, really, right now, student athletes now could reach out to coaches if they have questions about the high school sport offering. There's no rule against reaching out to coaches now if you have questions about what the high school offers and about your sport in particular. So that could take place anytime from now until the beginning of your sports season next school year.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there was another comment about financial literacy requirements, but Ms. Garcia did answer that within the chat, saying that it's money management, personal financial management, and super economics of personal finance, which is available to 11th and 12th graders. Mrs. Garcia, is there anything else you wanted to add to that, or was that?
No, and then money management and personal financial management are available to students grades 10 through 12. So the SUPA classes, which are dual enrollment classes, is a program that we have through Syracuse University. That's only for upperclassmen, 11th and 12th graders. So there are 3 different courses that you can take to fulfill that financial literacy requirement.
Thank you.
And we do have a hand raise from Ayla.
Do freshmen get full or half lockers?
Freshmen get half lockers. The only people who get full lockers are seniors.
Thank you, Mr. Principe. Any other hands out there, Tiffany?
Yep.
Deborah?
Yes, I wanted to know if there is an internship program that the school is affiliated with for different tracks.
Yep, Ms. Kirkby, you want to handle that one?
Sure. Internship is a program that's offered to seniors. That's something that we would discuss pretty heavily during students' junior scheduling meeting and even their junior college planning meeting. Miss Liberto is the internship coordinator. She actually coordinates all senior options, including school to work, internship, and then a volunteer experience senior year. So that she will work directly with students to not only explore what their career interests may be and what types of internships that they would like, but also fully coordinate the internship. And if it's someplace that she already has a contact, she'll make that happen. If she does not have a contact, or maybe you have a contact as a family, she'll work to make sure that they can fill all of our Riverdale requirements.
We have another question from Ms. Dela Cruz.
Hi, sorry. Is it just the seniors that get to go outside for lunch? I forgot. I attended a board meeting last year and I remember that was brought up. And do the freshmen get laptops for school, or is that just a middle school thing?
Why don't Joey, why don't you jump in and answer that one, the laptop question?
Every grade in the high school gets the same laptops. So you'll have a laptop every year.
And just to piggyback on that, our lease is up on our current laptops. So every student entering the building in September is going to get a brand new HP laptop. It's a pretty high level machine. So they should be excited about that. And what was the other, about lunch. So right. Yes, seniors can leave campus for lunch. It's part of their privileges. And we are having open conversations about maybe expanding that, but that is not set in stone yet. So seniors can leave, yes, for lunch.
Thank you.
There's a question that Sally, I want you to answer. It's in the chat regarding music electives. If you have to audition for select choir, if you fail the audition or if you don't do well, do you have to choose another music elective, or is there another option? Do you have that answer, Sally?
Yeah, so for select choir, you do have to audition, and it's a class that you take during the day. If you fail the audition, I'm not really sure what happens. I don't take select choir, but I'm sure there are a lot of other options you can take. There are a lot of music courses offered at Riverdale that don't require auditions. And the teacher for that is Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Sally.
I can kind of answer the whole piece about what they do if they fail the audition.
Yes.
So students who don't make the select choir audition can still take concert choir either during the day as their like 1 period full day elective, or they can do it in PM concert choir as well, which occurs after school. Some students will opt to take a full period elective in a different area and then do PM concert choir. And some students in select choir will also do PM concert choir as well after school. So there's multiple different ways where they can still be a part of a choir, even if it's not that particular group.
Mr. Pepe, if I could jump in here for a second, sorry. The PM music electives, athletic practices start at 3:15 to accommodate students who are in those courses so that they can do both. So students can participate in the music program with Mr. Wilson and other teachers and still be a part of the athletic programs because none of our practices are scheduled to start until 3:15 when that PM elective class is over.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. I'll answer Erin's question. Erin Keeley, thank you for asking a question. You're asking who is my teacher. Those that will be shared with you most likely at the end of the school year. that your parents will receive a message regarding your teachers. Okay, Aaron?
Okay.
Okay, you got it. No problem.
We do have Amy who's raising her hand, virtual hand.
Hi everyone. So in a non-COVID year, are there opportunities to travel abroad, like in a foreign language class or for a club?
That's a great question. Any of our students participate in traveling abroad?
I can actually take that question.
Thank you,
So
Katie.
I was lucky enough to travel last year for a STEM trip to Iceland right before COVID, actually. I went last February in 2020. And it was a trip that was open to juniors and seniors who had an interest in the science field. So I know Riverdale offers these trips for foreign languages classes. Spanish runs them in the past, French has in the other language classes, but I went as a science elective one. So there's a couple different opportunities for it. And if you have the opportunity to do so, I highly recommend it because I thought it was an amazing experience. And I still reference it to this day when I'm talking about some of my best experiences.
That's great, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? There was a question there regarding physical education. Yes, students are required to take physical education every year, right, Mr. Principe?
Yes, it is a state graduation requirement.
And with that also includes health and driver's ed, correct?
Yes.
Great.
We have Mateo who's raising his virtual hand.
Do you have to be like a junior or a senior to travel with like a class, like a world language or something?
In my personal experience, my trip last year was just open to juniors and seniors to accommodate the amount of people who wanted to go, since only a select number of people could go on the trip. But depending on the trip and the interest that's demonstrated in it, that could change to be open to sophomores and other grades as well, from my understanding.
I would also
Okay,
like to
thank
add, last year, the music department, we were supposed to go to Central Europe to do different performances in different countries that got canceled because of the pandemic, but I was going to go as a freshman, so it's open to all grades for some trips.
Thank you, Joey. Hopefully you can have another opportunity to do that in the future.
Mateo, do you have another question?
Yes. What's the academic ineligibility for sports? Like, what do you have to have in order to play sports?
Mateo, that's based on successfully completing credits. It's not based on a GPA. You need to pass your courses, and you have to demonstrate that you're successfully completing 30 credits each year and 15 credits at the half-year mark. So when you come in as a freshman, you're automatically and immediately eligible for both the fall and winter seasons, but there is an expectation that you'll be successfully completing at least 15 credits by February 1st in order to be eligible for spring sports.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions out there? I know there are some. Yep.
Alea?
How do you like get a lot of your credits, and do you need them only for sports, or do you need them for some clubs too?
Mr. Principe, you want to touch that one?
Did you say, do you need your credits, past credits for the clubs as well, did you say?
Yeah.
No, there is no eligibility in terms of number of credits passed to join a club. However, I would suggest that if you're having trouble in school, you should probably concentrate on your schoolwork and not worry about the club. So they really go hand in hand. I mean, not that we have students who don't do well in school and join 100 clubs, but I think that's what you should probably wind up doing. Student panel, will you agree or disagree?
Hannah, if you don't mind just sharing with everyone here about time management as a student. I know that you were a swimmer and had to wake up super early, and then I know you had evening things going on. Can you just talk about, as a freshman, I know you're a sophomore now, but as a freshman, how important time management is?
It's definitely important to manage your time to get your assignments in. For homework, school always comes first, and your coaches understand that, so don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, I have extra help after school tomorrow. I might be late to practice. They're super flexible. School always comes before sports. Don't hesitate to put school in front of sports. It's super important. And just make sure that, usually sports, I would stay at the school and I would have my clothes to change into in the locker room, and then I'd go straight to sports and go home. So you have a lot of time once you get home at like 5:30ish, I want to say, maybe earlier. And for anyone interested in swim, this year it was different than previous years, but you just have to wake up at like 5 o'clock. Sounds pretty bad, but it's not as bad as it sounds, and you're able to, it's really flexible. Most sports, you'll be able to have your schoolwork and time and everything else and clubs. It all is, you'll be able to balance it.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah.
Kelly?
Can you go into a little bit more detail about these credits? Because they don't have that in middle school, and I'm not sure I fully understand what they are and how you obtain them.
Speaking from an athletic standpoint, a course is most courses are worth 5 credits, and a student could take anywhere from 5 to 7 or 8 courses. And so it's possible that they'd be on schedule to earn 40 courses, say, in an academic year, and they would need to successfully complete 30 of them. In all likelihood, the vast majority of our students are completing all of the credits that they're taking, and the credits are part of their graduation requirement. There's an expectation as to how many credits they'll complete each year on the way to 4 years on a high school diploma. So that's where the credits come into play. There are some courses that are only half a year in length, so they're worth 2.5 credits, not the full 5 that a full year course is worth. But I will defer also now to the guidance department for more on the credit piece here.
I could pick up on that. So a typical student will, certainly every freshman will be enrolled in 40 total credits, which is 8 full year courses or a combination of half year classes that still get you to that 8 full periods. In order to move from freshman year to sophomore year, a student must pass 6 courses, which equates to the 30 credits that Mr. Nelson is talking about. So you could be retained, so held back, and also ineligible from participating in sports if you don't pass those 6 courses. Part of what the guidance department does is we keep students on track. So we make sure that they are going to fulfill those credits to move on from grade to grade and also fulfill the graduation requirements. So it definitely is not the responsibility of the family to maintain a count of all the credits. Additionally, there are certain credit requirements for certain subjects. So we'll refer to the financial literacy requirement, which is a half-year requirement or 2.5 credits. So a typical Riverdale student will graduate with far more than the required 120 credits that the state requires for graduation.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkby.
We do have a question in the comment chats. So it says, which sport can incoming 9th grade girls participate in? Are there freshman teams as well as JV for soccer, basketball, and softball? Mr. Flanagan did write in the chat as a response: soccer, field hockey, volleyball, tennis, basketball, wrestling, track, softball, lacrosse, and golf. But Mr. Nelson, maybe you can talk about if it's a freshman or JV team.
Sure. We do offer some freshman-only teams for girls and for boys. It varies annually. It really depends on how many freshmen we have interested in the sport and would come out for the team if we're able to offer a strictly freshman team for that sport. Some sports that's very typical and happens every year. Others, it varies from year to year. But we have for just about all of our sport offerings at least JV and varsity levels for all those sports. And then the coaches will place the student athlete where they think it's most appropriate for them to compete.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson, again.
We have another comment. Should freshmen feel like they should take the honors courses in order to be in an AP class in their senior year?
Why don't we have Sally go ahead with that one?
Sure. To take an AP class your junior and senior year, I think it definitely does help a lot to take an honors course. But that being said, I don't think you should think that far and just take an honors course just to take an AP course in the future. I feel like for freshman year especially, everything is new, so it's good to take the right class that you think is for your level. And then that being said, after you take that, you can definitely take an AP course if you think it's right for you then.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yes. Ms. De Leon?
Just to piggyback on that question, how do you decide what level or, I guess what level of class your child goes into? Who makes that decision, and does the parent participate in that at all?
Yep. Valeria, do you have the answer for that one?
Sure. So basically we just talk it out with like our guidance counselors, and they're gonna help us make like the right decision for us. That's basically it. And like it will also count like your transcript from middle school, and like basically your guidance counselor will help you make like the right decision, like help you choose the right courses.
Yep. And parental involvement is always welcome, and the guidance counselors will work very close. Go ahead, Mr. Principe.
I was just going to say, the teachers play in that part too. They recommend your child for the next level. So based on criteria that you can look at in the school where the courses are, the course catalog, excuse me, you could find out based on criteria, the teacher will recommend your child for an honors class. You just can't pick an honors class, so it has to be a recommendation. And one of the counselors want to chime in and let you know when you speak to them how that happens.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So different classes will have different recommendations in terms of like the performance from the previous year. Now, ultimately, those recommendations are based on sort of predicting success in the requisite, AP or honors course. Ultimately, though, in the big picture, when you're looking like down the line as to, honors, AP, college prep level classes, a lot of it has to do with what's called appropriate challenge or appropriate rigor. When you're looking through the lens of the college process, that has to do with typically having, ideally, if you're going to be in a higher level class, solid Bs or better. So there's sort of like a cost benefit to how, to taking the higher level class. Now, if you ask colleges that a lot of times, they'll tell you that, well, we want an A in the AP class, and they don't really tell you like, there's a B minus versus, in the AP versus, an A in the CP class. But ultimately, the idea is for a student to be appropriately challenged, to not be completely inundated with homework, but to also not be bored out of their mind, and for them to sort of develop, develop their academic skills and their maturity as they go along.
Thank you very much. There was one question here. We do have a lot of sports questions, which is great. Know that Mr. Nelson is always available, and you can always reach out to him for any sports questions. But we do have a golfer, or try to be golfer, as a student here, Mr. Gillies. Could you share with Jin Park the qualifications for the freshman girls golf team? It's open to anybody, I believe. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, once you go to your freshman year, like you'll have like in the beginning of the spring season, like they'll take you to the range and they'll just see, just basically to get a grasp of like anyone can come out and play, but then they can like start selecting. And then there's the JV team, and there's also the varsity team. So, I mean, as long as you can go out there, if you're having fun, like, and you want to try out, that's all that matters. But if you really want to take it like seriously, and you're like very serious about playing like golf, then there's definitely plenty of room to like move up in the future if you want to play like on the varsity team.
Very good. Thank you, Ryan. Any other questions? We're winding down here. It's almost 8 o'clock. Any other questions out there, Ms. Correa?
Yes, we just had one hand raise from Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Mia, and did any students online here double up with math freshman or sophomore year? And if so, what do they recommend, and what was their experience?
That's a really awesome question. Any student want to answer that one?
I'm doubling up right now with advanced geometry and advanced algebra 2 with trig. And I'm doing this to like push myself into a harder math class junior and senior year. Because freshman year I felt like a little bored and I wanted more of a challenge. So if you really like math and science and you think that that's your thing, then I recommend doing it if you're not already in like the honors track.
I also doubled up my sophomore year. I'm a senior now, and I was in advanced geometry and advanced algebra 2 with trigonometry also. And I thought it was a really great experience. I'm actually taking 2 math classes this year. I'm in honors calculus and AP statistics. So it definitely puts you ahead if you have goals in math for later in your high school career, that you can reach them at a different rate. And I thought that it was pretty manageable. That's the great thing about the high school drop schedule, is that I remember my sophomore year, that I dropped both math classes on the same day. So I went a whole day mathless. But if yours aren't on the same day, you might have days with just one math class at least one time of the week. So it's definitely manageable. And that's definitely something you can talk about with your teachers and guidance counselors to do.
Good. And Jennifer Ali is our math supervisor. She is readily available to answer any questions regarding math. She was unable to make it tonight, but she said just shoot her an email and she'll be able to help you out. Any other questions?
I just wanted to add one more thing about the teacher recommendations, if that's okay.
Go for it.
So during your scheduling meeting that we're going to be having the week after spring break, we're going to go over everything that your teachers recommended you for, and that is how we're going to build your schedule for next year. So I know there might have been some confusion of, should I take an honors class? How can I get into an AP class? So we're going to go over all of the classes that, based off of your grades, based off of how you did in 8th grade, what your teachers recommended you for freshman year. So all of that will be answered during your one-on-one scheduling meeting with your counselor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alvarez. That's awesome. All right. So what I'm going to do with my team is this week we're going to watch the recording of this. We're going to compile all the questions and break them out into different categories. And under the incoming students tab on the website, we will now add another drop down called frequently asked questions. It will be titled FAQ. And as questions continue to come in throughout the year, in the summer, I'll just pop open that live document and type in the question with the answer. So everybody will have access to all the questions and answers that every other student is asking our families. A couple questions just came in.
Yeah, we do have a few questions. So one says about the recommendations, your middle school teacher. What if your child did not go to the middle school?
Mr. Principe, you want to grab that?
I'm gonna be in that one of the. They'll be meeting with the counselors. I'm gonna let one of the counselors handle that. Erin, Ms. Kirkby, you want to handle that one?
Sure. So for anyone new to the district, which I'm hoping we have a couple new families on here, we do have a process of reviewing middle school grades. So we are familiar with a lot of the schools that we receive students from, particularly in River Edge, Oradell, and New Milford. And we will review transcripts, and we will also consult with our department supervisors, including Dr. Torres for English and History, as well as Miss Ali, who will assist with the math placement. In some cases, we do administer placement tests. Maybe if you're coming from another town that we're not as familiar with, or if you feel that you would like to be in a certain level of, let's say, a world language, and we don't have as good of a grasp on your transcript. And we'll work together to build that over the summer. That's typically when the placement tests are administered. And I know there was another question related in terms of whether or not parents are included in the scheduling process. Our meetings the week after spring break are between the counselor and the student. Only for the sake of time. So that's a very short meeting, but we're very happy to schedule an additional meeting if parents would like to sit down and talk more extensively about maybe the 4-year plan for academics, if you're looking ahead to what future courses you might qualify for or be interested in. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You should have received an email, or you will certainly by the end of this week, from your student's high school counselor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kirby. And we do have another question, which Mr. Pepe, you can probably answer. How would this recording be accessible?
Yep. So it will download when we're completed here. It is going to be a large file. So our RDTV YouTube channel will download it onto their channel, and that link will be provided again under the incoming students tab on the website. It will just be titled 8th grade family Q&A video. So that would be there and very easily accessible. Anybody else?
Our hand raise for Dana.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Pepe, and for everyone for organizing tonight's Q&A. I just had a question going back to the doubling up in math. In your opinion, do you think it's better for a student to double up their freshman year or their sophomore year in math in order to hit calc later in their high school years?
Ms. Garcia?
Yes, I'm happy to answer that question. I think it's important to remember that our freshmen are taking 2 English classes their freshman year. So, and as well as transitioning to the high school. So if I feel, or I don't want to speak for the whole department, but I think we're kind of on the same page of looking at sophomore year as the year to double up, because then your child is not taking 2 English and 2 math classes during their while transitioning into their freshman year of high school. So that would be the recommendation, that they would wait till sophomore year to get a sense too if they still want to double up, because not everyone may have the same goals. And I think with maturity and understanding of why they want to double up, that often happens after a full year of high school.
Thank you. I appreciate your answer.
And we do have one more comment, which is, does Riverdale participate in regional or national math competitions like AMC 1012, math counts, etc.?
Mr. Principe, you've been here the longest.
No, the Mu Alpha Theta Club will compete in math competitions, in certain math competitions, but as a school, we have not participated in those. That's not to say that we won't in the future. I mean, it's something that we could look at, but we have not in the past.
Thank you. Okay. So at this point, I think we're going to just share some final words. So I will be sending out this video and the link to the video to all the families, very similar to the communications that you've been receiving from me. You'll probably receive that by the end of this week. And with that will be, again, the steps that we're taking to help your children and the families transition to Riverdale High School. One thing to look forward to is the scheduling. That will start April 12th with your guidance counselors. Those appointments will be made. And after that, we're going to be sharing some dates for the summer tours. So we're going to work with Mr. Principe, Mr. Flanagan, and the other administrators on here. And we're going to come up with a schedule to share with all the families. Please, if you cannot make it for a tour, there'll be plenty of other opportunities to come check out the building. I did see one more question there before we shut it down. Ms. Bartoloni, I believe you had your hand up.
No, I'm sorry. I clicked on it on an accident, but thank you.
All right.
She was waving to us. That's what she was doing.
She was waving. Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Bartoloni. You would think she's a teacher here and she would understand how to use Teams, but we're still.
You would.
Yeah, we'll have to do that professional development session for you. Okay, so we're going to close things out. I just want to say thank you again to the families that joined us, but most importantly, thank you to not only the administrators and guidance staff, but the 7 students that were on here, really helping answer some questions. It goes a long way, I think, for current 8th graders and families to hear from the students here at Riverdale versus always hearing from the adult. So thank you very much. I think it was a success. And I wish everyone a great spring. Enjoy the rest of your 8th grade time and celebrate your achievements in 8th grade. And we look forward to having you here in September. Have a good evening, everybody.